and welcome to the J-Train Podcast. This is J-Train, Jared Freid, coming to you live from the new quarantine cabin out east on Montauk. That's right. We're here Monday through Friday with your emails, your stories, your questions. I say it every episode. Let me say it one more time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for telling a friend. That's how it all works. You tell a friend, a coworker, a brother, a sister, a mama, a papa, anyone with ears, you let them know. And then they tell another friend, a sister, a brother, a mama, a papa, anyone with ears. So you just keep pushing it along. You are the mouthpiece for the J-Train, and I appreciate it. So keep on keeping on. Keep on telling friends. Keep on tagging them in my Instagram videos. All that stuff. Very excited about today's guest. An OKP to the show. Original key player.
OKP.
Nimesh Patel, thank you for coming back, buddy.
Thank you, Jared. Good to see you.
How are you? How's your quarantine? Thank you for joining us from a dimly lit...
This is my writing room, my living room, my TV room, my dinner room. It's all the rooms.
This is where it all happens.
Yeah.
How is your quarantine? So I think the one thing for everyone needs to know that Nimesh has a special that is on YouTube right now, and you can go watch some awesome stand-up. It's relevant. A lot of the stuff you're talking about, even though it was taped before, it's oddly relevant.
It's weird how, I put it out, I taped it in August of 2019, and then the day the city shut down was March 16th. I put it out that day, and then for some reason it caught fire like mid-April. Yeah. Like, I guess I got caught in the algorithm somehow, and it just went like that, and I was like, oh shit. And like everyone's like, oh shit. Like there's parts of it that are kind of just resonated with everybody. I think one line I say, stay inside, go outside before there's no outside to go to. And that, for whatever reason,
could not have been more spot on.
Yeah, it was weird. But quarantines were good in that sense.
Well, so the YouTube special, everyone should go find it at youtube.com/findingnimesh. Go. I'll have it all over my social media so that you can swipe up and click on it. But so now that you're a YouTube celebrity, a la Russell Peters, so what is it like dealing with the YouTube masses?
All right. So first of all, my biggest regret is not putting shit out earlier, because like Russell should have been the fucking like the paradigm to watch. Now we're watching Scholes and Andrew and Sam Morrill. Akash and Sam Morrill. I'm like, oh shit, this is something. And not now my own sort of relative success on it, but. For one, it was cool. I was riding bikes on Thursday with some friends, and we just pulled up to Chelsea Piers, and some Indian kid from India recognized me. He's like, "Hey man, I've seen all your clips on YouTube." I was like, "What?"
Oh shit!
It's like, that's fucking crazy. It's awesome.
It'd be funny if you and the Indian kid just did like a mime thing, where you guys just like, you're like, "I am you, you are me." Yeah,
it was dope. And then, but. What's been troubling is that I've not stopped reacting to YouTube comments. It's fucking
YouTube comments. So do you get? Is there hate as well as love?
There's lots of love, but I'm a comic, so I don't respond to love.
Sure, it's the one guy.
Don't you like me, man?
And what could the hate be? Is it that they feel that you're making fun of them? Is it a sensitivity thing, or is it?
It's a lot of it's mostly two things. One, it's like three things, and the third thing.
Sorry to interrupt, but like the YouTube land, more than any other social media, that's kind of like where the commenter is most famous for YouTube.
Yeah.
If you think of like who's the worst type of commenter, YouTube has that like above all else. So you're like going to the to the terror dome fighting against their biggest champion. Like Instagram commenter, I kind of know what to expect, but then you'll get like an Instagram commenter where you'll be like, oh, you feel YouTube-ish. Like you it feels like you trained in another land. Like a Facebook. I'm saying like the type of negative commenter, like the Facebook negative commenter, you get like it's almost like momish. It's very boomerish. It doesn't feel like you're speaking. It feels like you're speaking to another generation. So it is interesting that you're sparring with the most famous of the negative commenters.
YouTube, of the social media commenters, YouTube commenters are the most anonymous, right? Like,
okay, I didn't know that.
Because if you go to someone's Instagram and someone comments on your Instagram, you can click on their Instagram shit. And
yes.
You can find out maybe if they're not private who they are. On Facebook, same thing.
I thought of you the other day because I know you have a joke about seeing a woman on Twitter responding to you about something with Allah, and then where you basically see her profile and see her. Yeah. So I remembered your joke because I had someone respond to me. I mean, my arguments are about charcuterie, so mine don't really get it. So, but I had this girl like ask me about charcuterie, and then this guy responded, and then I responded to the guy being like, "Oh, you're trying to get laid via charcuterie," and then he wrote back something along the lines of like me being cheesy or something, or not being funny or whatever, and then like I go to his account. Obviously, because I'm a fucking maniac and I care too much, and I go to his account and it's all the only thing I go to see who he follows. Like I'm like, I want to know who he thinks is funny, Right. So I go and I find all he follows is like shoe deals, and I was like, well, I like held myself back, but I was like, the thing I would have written is like, oh, if only I gave out more promo codes for sneakers that you'd be a big follower, and like something like that. But but that's a deeper cut than when you go to YouTube. You look at their account, you don't really you're saying you don't see anything like that. You don't see a personality.
Well, I remember like some 16-year-old wrote some shit like, man, you ain't funny, you suck, and then I went to his profile and it was like 4 videos of him trying to do push-ups. And then I was like, what am I doing? What are these people that I'm responding to?
Well, that's kind of like the problem with social media, like especially right now, is like, who are you arguing with? Are you arguing with somebody that matters? Are you arguing with someone who's being thoughtful? Or are you arguing with someone who just spewed and then left there? Like you're not in the. You could be fighting. One could be in a boxing match, and the other could be in a Nerf, football throwing match. You have no idea.
It's the stupidest. It's this. I told myself. I said this to Akash like last week. It was like, I gotta give myself a number where I'm like, all right, I'm done. If I hit like 15,000 subscribers, I can't stay out, like keep paying attention to these, because you don't see like, oh shit, this got 50,000 likes or whatever. All you see is it's got 17 dislikes and all these fucking comments like, oh, that's what I was saying. Like one of them is like, oh man, this dude is drunk or high on stage, which I always just respond with Hannibal's joke. It's like, nah, I'm not high. I'm just way cooler than you. That's my clap. And then another one is, he needs to stop making fun of white people and start making fun of other races. I'm like, okay, like I don't think people understand how like long sets work.
Yeah.
Like there's just like, sometimes I have plenty of jokes about black people, Asians, China, whatever, but it just doesn't fit into the hour. So I can't just fucking shove a joke in. But it makes me realize on the next one, I'm going to try to not talk about white people at all. Just to be like, how do you feel being ignored now, cracker? Just to be...
then you're on a different algorithm.
Right.
Like there's a point where it's like, I guess like it's interesting that the people who love the thing the most and hate the thing the most get the same tide of content coming their way. If you think of an algorithm, like you interact with, jokes about white people, someone who loves that like whatever it is, or like political jokes, or like talking about social discourse, that person who's mad at social discourse jokes is going to be getting the same stuff as someone who loves it. It's
such a weird feedback loop, dude.
Yeah, I mean, so one thing I want to talk to you before we get to the emails, and all of you go to YouTube and write something positive.
Please.
Go not affect Nimesh's day as much as someone else will. YouTube.com/Finding Nimesh. Go. It's super hilarious. I love his stand-up. You guys are going to love it too. You were supposed to get married during this. And I think this is an important conversation for us to have, because I get, again, just like the tide of dating question comes my way, so does the marriage questions and what to do about a wedding I don't want to go to, or a wedding I'm supposed to have. What are you doing with your wedding? How has that been difficult? How has that made things easier? Because I do believe when things get more difficult, there's other things that get easier. What's been the situation, and how's your fiance doing?
Well, all right, so I'll answer that.
A friend of mine as well, Amy, who I know, but I'm asking through your eyes.
Well, I'll answer that last question first. So we were supposed to have two weddings, right? The Hindu ceremony and then the more traditional American ceremony.
There was going to be an Indian one and a white one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was going to be a coffee ice cream one and a vanilla one.
No, it would have been a dark coffee. There was going to be six white people at the Hindu ceremony. So that one was supposed to be in March 20th, and the city or the state of, it was going to be in Jersey, and the Jersey shutdown happened like 3 hours after we decided to postpone that one. So we felt sort of vindicated in that. But and then the May one, I think we postponed at the beginning of April. That the May one was the white one. We postponed that at the beginning of April. And I'm pretty stoic when it comes to things. I was upset when both got postponed, but it's like, okay, like this is the situation that's going to happen.
Nothing you can do.
Right. And she was obviously, we've both been looking forward to this like crazy. She had a lot more sort of personally invested in the May one, just from she planned basically all of it, I was there to help, this is what I would, this is what, but she loved doing it. And so once that date passed, which was just 20 something days ago now, then I was like, okay, more of a relief. And now we've postponed everything, reorganized everything. But up until then, there was like a pall hanging over us in the sense that, oh shit, this was supposed to be our day. But
sure.
But with that day, we went to the park and got drunk with a few friends, and that was that.
But the one thing I ask, I wonder about, and sometimes we make these assumptions and don't ask the people directly. We're just for people out there who are wondering, why haven't my friends postponed their wedding? Because I'm always like, what are the reasons against it? What, other than vendor, I understand money, but I would assume right now that there's very understanding times when it comes to the money situation and the rescheduling, just like flights, you can change a flight. I'm assuming that all these companies have made a little bit easier, right?
Oh, I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, all of our vendors were super understanding, immediately. I think there's weddings coming up that people in June, July, August or whatever, not June, but July, August, September, that time frame is still questionable because the vendors don't know themselves what the guidance is going to be. But, and the issue is that people, I know some friends who want to have a September wedding planned, but their vendor doesn't know necessarily if they're going to be allowed to operate. And if they are allowed to operate, then they don't want to lose the money that's going to come in. But the problem is then what happens is you have to weigh, as the person having the wedding, what you want your wedding to feel like. You don't want this huge overhang of a fucking COVID cloud and people not really partying.
Sure.
But at the same time, the vendor's not going to be well, we can't postpone because the government has said it's fine to operate. So
the vendor,
that's a difficult situation.
The vendor isn't gonna make things easier on you due to a vibe.
Right.
Exactly. So, but it's so funny because in these times, like, weddings are a good metaphor for like everything else. Yeah. Like, to me, like, if like the idea that someone out there is going, oh, all they give a shit about is their wedding. But then if you went, and there's a pandemic, people are dying, which there's elements of what they're ragging on that's right. But then if you go to the person having the wedding, like what you're saying sounds like it's actually easier to have postponed your wedding when it was March and April because there's government regulations. So like these companies don't want to lose business in the future. They want to keep you along. So there's no real threat. There's no like deposit that you're going to lose by changing it. And people are generally easier. But when you look out towards September, you have a group of people that are like, that if the government says they can't, now they're pushed to September of the next year because the March and April ones were pushed to like whatever got the first dibs on the dates. Now they're saying, and if it's not a government shutdown, you're saying, okay, we're like either lose your money or don't have it. You're kind of in a
it's a fucked position to be in.
I've been saying that people should like be reaching out to these people like, listen, if you don't come, I don't care. But I understand also that you don't want to have the wedding that's just a fucking funeral.
Yeah, you don't want a bummer. That's like a lot of it. Like, so when we were debating the March wedding, whether or not we should postpone it or not, before the guidance came that we weren't allowed to have it anyway. A lot of it was just weighing like, do we want like everyone who like we cared about closest, people who were like our closest friends we talked to all the time were like, we're coming no matter what, right?
Sure.
If you guys have it, we're coming.
Yeah.
But then like slowly, like the week before, cancellations started trickling in, like from people who were like coming from far away or like who were mostly like above 60 years old, like my parents, like connections and cousins. And we're like, okay, that's fine. Like, we don't want you to come if you feel unsafe, and we don't want to be in a position to make you sick,
Sure.
And as it turns out, Amy and I both had COVID. So
you did,
and we were asymptomatic on March 20th. We got like our first symptoms like 3 days later. So we probably would have just been like a super cluster of infecting people.
I mean, also you're the one, not just that you would have been at your wedding, but then you would have had to have literally brought to every table individually a case of COVID-19.
Exactly. It would have been, we would have been patient zero for the northern New Jersey Indian population. But yeah, I mean, we both got our antibody tests last week. Both of ours came back positive. I literally got mine 3 hours ago.
Really?
So we took
it. We both came back negative, and there is that moment where I was like, "Fuck! I wish I had already had it."
Did you have symptoms?
Jess did. I didn't.
What did she have?
She had a fever for like a day, and then just came back negative. No antibodies. We're just sitting here. Just fucking regular folk. Nothing.
I got super blood, man.
Yeah, you're good. Have fun at the. You can go and you can have fun touring the country.
Dude, I'm trying to. I gotta hit my agent right now, my manager right now. Like, yo, get me a booking agent. I'll send you my fucking antibody results.
Can you imagine if that was on the poster? Positive for antibodies. Comedy Central.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, that's a good credit, dude.
Yeah.
SNL. Comedy Central.
Yeah, Comedy Central. Positive for antibodies. Come to this show where he can't get you sick. Yeah, I'm
tweeting that right after this podcast.
Well, let's do some emails. I wanted to catch up with you, so I'm happy we did that. jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. I'm happy the wedding. When is it postponed? When should I clear my calendar for? I think I have it in there.
May 8th, I want to say. May 2021, sorry.
So I got time to fit in my suit. Okay, so jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. We're here with Nimesh Patel at Finding Nimesh on all platforms, but especially YouTube, where you can watch the whole special. YouTube.com/Finding Nimesh. The special's great. It is I think it's great viewing. I kept thinking about you before we started here, and I was like, man, all the jokes make sense. They didn't then. No, they held up. I don't know. It's like you knew something. So go check it out. YouTube.com/VanityMesh. I think this first email is a really interesting predicament. I met this guy online 2 months ago. I seriously thought he was the one. I know super fast, but I had never felt like this about someone. He treated me the way I had always wanted to be treated. We even said I love you after only 1 month. The last, Jess just went, ugh. I said I love you after only a month. The last 2 months have been amazing. He's so fun. We normally have the best time together. Last Sunday, we went out to a restaurant patio to get a few beers with my brother's girlfriend, and some of our friends. I live in Texas, and mostly everything is open now, and he got super wasted and was acting ridiculous. He was trying to make out with me. He put his hand down my shirt. He was trying to start a fight with another guy there, just acting crazy. He called me a bitch to my friends when I went to the bathroom and was saying he could get any girl he wanted. Hey, he started going off on one of my friends, and I tried to get him water and calm him down, and he went off on me. My brother finally told him, we got you an Uber, you need to leave. When he left, he sent me the worst text messages I have ever gotten, calling me a total piece of shit, saying I'm fat, that no one will want me, that I'm a bitch, that I'm horrible in bed, and I'm a fat bitch, that he hopes I have a horrible life. Boy, that's quite a... I mean, yeah, he was also texting horrible things to my brother and friends, saying they are worthless and bitches, etc. This guy loves the word bitches. Of course, the next morning, he is calling me over and over, begging me to forgive him. I told him I feel like we can never move past what he said about me and my family and my friends and how he acted. He is telling me I need to forgive him and that everyone has a drunk night they regret. I totally get that and have had many crazy drunk nights when I say stuff and act in ways that I regret in the morning. But how can I ever get past this? Should I forgive him and try and work it out, or block him and move on? Just an FYI, I'm 30. He's 29. What do you think?
I mean,
that's a pretty bad. That's a bad story.
That's I mean, 2 months in a Corona relationship, and this is what's happening already. Like, yo, it's just cut that dude loose. It's done.
I know, and the thing is, when I hear this email and you hear 2 months, it's like, yeah, 2 months isn't long enough to know if someone has a horrible relationship with alcohol.
Right.
Like, you know, like this guy sounds like an alcoholic who has, like, for him to say this is one bad drunk night is crazy. Like, your worst.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a drunk night you have, like, if you've been hiding something for like years.
Yeah,
you know?
And to have that type of feeling towards the family and the friends, and you know, 2 months in, you're on best behavior mode. So to get listen, Nimesh, have you had a bad drunk? Do you have a memory of your worst drunk night? Does it even resemble this at all?
My worst drunk night in a relationship has been pretty bad, but not like this. It's more just like anger towards myself, you know, and just like fucking. It's never like outwardly negative like that. That's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, and to me, like, my worst drunk night, listen, I'm not above making a fool of myself.
Oh, for sure.
I'm not above saying the wrong thing. I'm not above pissing people off. Like, I remember one time I was drunk in... I was drunk in Chicago once. I'm with one of my good friends. He brings me to a house party. This one girl and I are just not hitting it off, and I'm trying to be funny. And like, I think like when people say there's PC police, I'm like, no, people try to be funny and people fuck up when they try to be funny. That is just like, that's a natural thing. Like, how many times the class clown has a moment where he fucks up or she fucks up so big time that the whole class goes, "Ooh!" It happens to every class clown. It's a numbers game. So I remember I'm like trying to be funny. This is before I even started comedy. Actually, it was right when I started. I was thinking of moving to Chicago. And
you were thinking of moving to Chicago?
Before I even started, I was like, I'm going to move to Chicago and I'll start this whole thing. And you know what I mean? Like, I was like, that's the city. And I remember...
And then you got drunk one night and got banned from Chicago.
Well, basically, I banned myself because I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to work on my sensibilities here. I think I'm like so far away. So I remember this girl, it was right after Katrina, the hurricane, and I made us... I made a... the hurricane, not the woman. But I made a joke. There was this girl and I were not getting along, and I admittedly, this is a drunk, stupid, insensitive joke. She says she's dating a guy, and they're like, we're both from New Orleans, and so I go, you should name the kid Katrina, like something like that. This, I mean,
a bit hacky, but yeah, I mean,
hacky, dumb, whatever. But then she starts crying because she's like, oh my God, my family lost their house. Like, it goes down that road, whatever it might have been. But me, as drunk as I was, you still have a moment where you go, oh, gotta go. Like, this is my time to leave. So, like, and because I had no ill will towards these people, all I wanted to do was be funny with them, and I fucked up. I will take the loss. For this guy, when he's reaching down your shirt and in front of your brother and you go, stop it, he should go, oh my God. Like, that's a natural drunk reaction, is to lose yourself, come back to the meat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then to keep fucking up, this is a person who has a anger issue with alcohol that like needs professional help.
Yeah, he sounds problematic.
Yeah.
But also, like, maybe you can't excuse any of it. Yeah, I mean, to the lady that spent 3 hours in the bathroom and then all this happened to her while she was in the bathroom, I would say, first see a gastroenterologist and then to deal with your bowel. But no, seriously, this dude seems like a prick. I mean, you've lost nothing. Well,
I think you got to cut him loose. I think also, like, his response can't be, it's just another drunk night, because this is not another drunk night, because that is what you can't if you generalize, then the people on the extremes of the generalization get a free pass. He's giving himself a free pass by being like, we've all had drunk nights. No, dude. We've all had drunk nights where we fucked up once. We didn't fuck up 7 times. So the biggest problem to me is that he didn't make a apology or a effort that was as big as his problem. Like, if he had come back and was like, listen, I obviously need professional help. I have a problem with alcohol. Let me get through that and make it up to you once I'm better and I'm off of alcohol. Like, obviously it's going to take time and effort to come back from this. But he didn't do that. He is not ready to admit he has a problem. And I would not, just because I've been with someone for 2 months that were pretty good, I wouldn't sign up for that. I'd get out of that.
Yeah, and I mean, relationships in Corona, if you don't get into a new one in Corona, these are fucking random ass times. You don't know what this is. Also, don't agree to one. Don't be like, okay, this is it. Like, I understand that you see a future with this guy, but you could see a future with a lot of guys that won't tell you you're a bitch. And like, I don't think I could never get over this type of interaction. No. Also, you're 30. 30 is the new 20, as Jay-Z says. What even cares?
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com, JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Starting to see this guy from an app who lives nearby. Suggestions for spicing up our socially distant park hangs, trying to keep it interesting.
She's starting to see someone at a park.
Well, she met a guy on an app and he lives nearby, so they've been doing socially distanced park hangs, but she wants to spice them up. How does she do it?
Kiss.
That is spicy.
Ooh, we're gonna make out during COVID.
You guys live on the edge. Oh my God, he kissed me on the cheek. That's right.
Pull a titty out at the park. See what happens. See how that goes.
Little public nudity. Yeah, that'll help things out. I don't know. I think I don't think the spiciness happens at the park.
No, I mean, it could, but it doesn't seem like you're anywhere near that.
It's just, it's not like, again, like, it's funny that you're like, pull out a titty. Like, that's kind of the first thought I had is like, I guess you show a nipple, but then at that point, it's like, it's more like a prank than it is sexual. Like if I was at the park with my girlfriend, she was 6 feet away and she like pulled out a nipple, I'd be like, ooh, like I'd laugh about it. I wouldn't be like, I wouldn't be like getting hard in public, like, you know, right. Like, so I think this all happens. I think like spiciness happens under the cover of night, under the cover of texting, under the cover of, you know, I think, you know, one person has to inch forward over text to make. But I think the park is not the place to do it. Or
just inch forward in real life and just get, instead of 6 feet, make it 5 feet and see how much more attracted you feel towards each other. I don't know what she means by we want to spice it up in the fucking bring hot mustard. Like, what are you
Goldens. I don't know. I think people are just looking for ways to like figure their shit out. Like how do you get to know someone in these times? And you know, for me, like, I think living with my girlfriend, like, I think you get to know each other, you know, way more. But then when you're dating, it's like you get to know each other almost less sometimes because you're like, I can only get to a certain point with them.
Right. Or you just skip all the formalities. You know, like, that's what I've always thought was the one positive of apps. Like, you can skip, because it immediately makes you skip, like, hey, like, what are your interests and all that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. You know, you could just immediately get to like, who are you as a human being? Like, how are you, like, if you're out with someone on a coronavirus date and they tell you that, you know, they haven't really done anything in Corona or whatever, or they're not using this time to like improve themselves in whatever way, it's like, all right, well, who are you? You should be seizing this opportunity. You're not the type of person that I necessarily want to be with. Or you're like the opposite. We're like, oh, this is great time to just lounge around and strengthen my relationships with people I care about. That's the kind of person, you know, like, who gives a shit about what kind of food you like? You're not going to eat anywhere for a very long time.
I guess the formalities being out the window, like knowing that you can say things like, you know, as far as you know, the world is ending tomorrow. So like you can go, hey, let's get this all out there. I have an idea for spicing it up. Okay?
Let's hear it.
So when you guys go to the park, here's a great idea. I actually think this is a good idea. They meet at the park and they exchange letters. And they write to each other in the letters. They say, I want you to write your sexual fantasy with me in mind. So you guys write each other pornos about each other. You exchange the letters. You have a conversation like you normally would at the park. How's your day? What's going on? I love hot dogs. And then you go back to your home and you read the letter and then you text, you know, about it to each other, what you think about the fantasy that you created. Isn't that spicy? To know that you're going to the park to receive
pornography.
Yeah, like with you as the star.
I guess that could work.
Right?
If these people are Puritans. You know?
Yeah, well, I'm saying let's go back to old school shit. Like,
yeah.
Listen, and like you could write it under the candlelight, like you're in Nimesh's apartment, no light. you go. I've been thinking of your wet vagina all day long. Like, wouldn't that be fun? And also, you see the level of effort. You can see like what, you know. Hey, I have an idea. I'm looking to spice things up. I'm going to write you a letter about us having sex. I want you to write me a letter about us having sex too. I think that'd be fun.
The guy's like, missionary, 3 minutes. Both of you should just go get tested, and then you could
exchange your antibody tests.
Yeah, and see what happens. You know, like then you don't have to do all this.
The J-Train podcast is brought to you by Postmates. With everyone stuck at home and every day feeling just like the last, if you're like me, you probably start thinking about what to eat for dinner while you're eating lunch. That is literally me. Every day, what can I order? The most exciting part of the day is when a fancy new sandwich arrives at my door. I love food. That's why I love using Postmates. But I kind of love them even more right now because I can get food delivered without leaving the house or even opening the door. That's right. Given what's going on in the world, they created non-contact deliveries. So now when I order from local restaurants, everything gets left right outside my door. They also have Postmates Pickup, which I have been using to order takeout from my favorite local restaurants. Those mom and pop shops you love need your support now, and using Postmates helps. In these times, it's no longer about burgers and sushi. They actually make my life easier by picking up everything I need from Walgreens and 7-Eleven, dropping it off outside my door. Just download Postmates on iOS or Android, find your favorites, and get anything you want delivered within the hour. For a limited time, Postmates is giving our listeners $100 of free delivery credit for your first 7 days. To start your free deliveries, download the app and use code JTRAIN. JTRAIN. That's code JTRAIN for $100 of free delivery credit for your first 7 days. When you download the Postmates app, anything you need, anytime you need it, Postmates it. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Here with Nimesh Patel at Finding Nimesh. YouTube.com/Finding Nimesh. Go watch the special right now. Go. Ready for this? I got a new one.
Oh, it's going to be a doozy, I can tell.
My long-term boyfriend and our friends were hanging out when one individual called me a hoe for past actions I did. Oh, shit. This person is extremely rude and vulgar. My boyfriend did not stick up for me, and throughout our relationship, I've noticed he doesn't really stick up for me. I asked him before, and he said he doesn't like confrontation, which I understand, but I always stick up for him, and I believe he needs to do the same. How do I get him to stick up for me? Should I just let it go? Maybe I'm overreacting because I'm extremely sensitive. P.S. I've told him multiple times how I feel and that I want him to stick up for me, but he hasn't really. I think maybe he's just too shy and scared. What do you think? If someone was to say something to your fiance or to you, what's your need for them to stick up for you or you to stick up for them? What do you think?
Oh, I mean, if someone says something to me, Amy will defend me if it's over a line. If anyone says anything to Amy, luckily no one has, but if anything, I always think like I would fucking destroy them.
Yeah.
I'm more like it depends on the situation. But let's say confrontational. But like if anyone said anything to Amy or anyone I cared about, it would be problematic. I mean,
obviously, like a person saying you're a hoe for past actions you did, like, but there's a couple different like examples. Like I'm not taking the side of the vulgar asshole because I do believe that's like not appropriate. I agree that's an asshole. But let's say you're joking around. Let's say there's like some joking and banter going on at the table, and this guy goes, "Oh, we know how you are, you hoe," and he didn't necessarily think that this was like such like he thought it was in kind of like you know when you're in jest, and also like you know when you're like driving with the flow of traffic, so you're like speeding, but everyone's speeding.
Yeah.
You know, like where he would go, "Well, we were all speeding. Why'd you pull me over and not anyone else?" So. And if your boyfriend thought it was like that and was like, I don't know how to jump in here and I didn't know when the joke ended and the fight began, I could understand that. Like I'm not saying like it's not raw, but as far as like when to jump in to defend someone, I could understand where they weren't sure to stick up or not.
Here's the question that I would pose to this lady: is did she stick up for herself first?
Interesting.
Was there like an equal retort, or was this like a and then she lost the retort battle, and then he could have stepped in, or was it like that? The situation is important, but I will jump the gun because we can hear what's a joke and what isn't. You know, like
sure. That's kind of what we have to do,
right? Like, if something's a joke, I will still retort back with a joke. Yeah. If something's not a joke, I will know it, and then I will take the joke route first, and if that doesn't work, then these fists is coming out. You're gonna catch these hands.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think the biggest part of her email, like context aside, if you're like, let's just say we take the emailer at her word. This guy was truly offensive and rude to me. And one thing she writes is, my boyfriend did not stick up for me, and throughout our relationship, I've noticed he doesn't really stick up for me. That is like a vague... I think men generally, like me, vague complaints don't really get me to do much. Like when it's like, you never defend me, I go, well, tell me the time to do. Now I'm like wondering when the time was. Now I'm thinking of the context. Is there a situation that wasn't spoke up about? I think that's a different thing than if my girlfriend came to me and was like, that last night when that guy said that to me, that made me feel awful. And when you did nothing and didn't talk to him, that made me feel bad as well. The next time you want to hang out with that friend, I'm not going to be so quick to go hang out. Like that's a different story. Then it's like, oh shit, I can't really. Now the boyfriend knows I can't really hang out with that friend as much as I'd like to, or I need to speak to them to make sure they apologize so that I can hang out with them and have a normal friendship relationship.
Right. It always like gets kind of tainted. It's kind of tricky to walk your girl into a situation where they're going to be hanging out with savages, and you know, and they don't know. It sounds like she knew this guy wasn't joking necessarily, his friend. And
well, she said this person is extremely rude and vulgar. So she has a history where she doesn't like the guy or a girl or that called her a hoe, which I can understand.
Yeah. You also gotta, first of all, calling someone a hoe is an insult to your boyfriend as well. So it doesn't seem like he understands that. And second of all, like you've got to evaluate if this guy meets all your other criteria for a man, because like a guy who doesn't defend his girl like repeatedly, it's like, all right, maybe this dude's just a soft fucking guy.
Well, that's the other thing where it's like, that's why I'm saying like you never defend me is kind of like you're almost like ignoring your own problem.
Yeah.
Like when you go, you never defend me, that's not you saying I'm not fucking hanging out with that guy again. That's you going, you never defend me. Like that's just a complaint in being spewed. It's not. It doesn't really add a standard in.
Right. Yeah. That's like that's an overall problem in your relationship. It also sounds like you need to learn to defend yourself, but be like talk to this guy and see if he's worth the time you've already put in. Because
but that's the thing where you can go, hey, I'm not going to hang with that friend anymore unless you talk. If you want to talk to them and make sure that they can act a little bit better or actually apologize to me, then that's great. Well, then when your boyfriend doesn't talk to that friend and doesn't have them apologize, you go, okay, well, who am I with? This is obviously not the relationship for me.
That's the point of attack, lady. Jared solved it.
JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Here with Nimesh Patel at Finding Nimesh.
One of the first reasonable solutions I've heard you give in a long time, Jared.
This is all about reasonable. I think the sex poetry, the sex note is a reasonable solution to her spiciness, her bland park hangouts.
I like it. That was good.
The J-Train Podcast is brought to you by Ritual. We all want to do the right thing to keep our bodies healthy in the long run, but even if we try really hard to eat kale salads and drink green smoothies, we're still most likely not getting all the essential nutrients we need on a daily basis. Enter Ritual, the obsessively researched vitamin for women. You can't eat a pound of kale per day. Ritual's Essentials fills in the gaps in your diet so you get everything from D to omega-3, all in their clean, absorbable forms. No shady additives or ingredients. If you hate taking pills, this one is for you. No more choking down pills. Ritual is just 2 easy-to-take capsules full of 9 nutrients. Their no-nausea capsule design is gentle on an empty stomach. There's a mint tab in every bottle and to keep things fresh so you don't get that fishy aftertaste common with the most omega-3s. From D3 to omega-3, Ritual's Essential for Women helps fill gaps in a woman's diet. A subscription is easy to start, only $1 a day, no strings attached. Better health doesn't happen overnight, and right now Ritual is offering my listeners 10% off during your first 3 months. Fill in the gaps in your diet with Essential for Women, a small step that helps support a healthy foundation for your body. Visit ritual.com/JTrain to start your ritual today. That's 10% off during your first 3 months at ritual.com/JTrain. How about this one? Friend group fuck up. Okay, I love a friend group. We're on theme for this podcast right now. I'm a huge fan. Support the shit out of you. Thanks for the daily pods. Here's the story. I'm in a friend group of 5 people, 1 couple, 2 dudes. I'm in a friend group of 5 people, 1 couple, 2 dudes, and myself. Do we get the makeup? And one of the single guys and I have had sexual tension and flirty banter for months now. We get along so well and decided to have a talk about how to move forward with each other casually, and it went great. Long story short, we fucked. It was amazing. Fucked again. And we would love to keep fucking in peace. But my girlfriend is way against it. The guy and I both agreed that neither of us are looking for a serious relationship and are happy with hanging as usual. We are on the same page with everything that's happening between us, but the girl in the couple mentioned above is not. I was the last addition to the friend group, and now she's trying to control how this guy and I feel about each other and how we've decided to act on it. Him and I both agreed we wouldn't make it weird or awkward because we just aren't like that, but she's pissed at me since I'm her best friend and these are her boyfriend's best friends that she introduced me to. Was I out of line for making my own decision to fuck a dude I'm extremely attracted to? Is he in the wrong for fucking me back? The 2 other guys in the group could give a fuck less what him and I do, and quite frankly, they're probably happy about it. But when it comes to my girlfriend, I can't help but feel she's being selfish and with how she's handling the news and is now treating me like I'm guilty of something. Thank you, a Freid by noon fiend. What do we think?
This is a fucking Chandler Monica situation. And
okay.
If her friend was really a friend, she would just let it play out. I think her friend seems threatened by if something goes awry, then the whole dynamic is fucked up. But you gotta let adults be adults, man.
I think this is such an interesting email because it's funny that like the makeup of the group is a couple and then 2 guys and then this woman. I love that this woman and the guy starts fucking and then the other 2 guys, the one that's in the relationship and the one that's just a single dude, they're like, this is great. Yeah. 2 people fucking. Like this is the goal. We all want to fuck. Like it's very like caveman the way that they're happy for it. There's no third level to it. They're like, they're like penis, vagina, insert, good. You know, like
she's no longer the 5th wheel. Now the guy who's not fucking anybody in the group is the 5th wheel.
Well, that's true too. But it's funny to me that the woman in the relationship, this is kind of like why like couples like become friends and the single people kind of get left out. Like right. the you know, for like I don't know if this is a male female thing, but like it is. I think this woman is ready to move on with her life. Like she's got her boyfriend, they're serious. She wants, you know, I want couples dinners and I want to be in this and I want this friend group to stay together and I want to make sure that these are the people that I'm going to be interacting with and I know the group. When the single woman comes in and starts fucking one of the guys, she's like, "Oh fuck. All of my plans are now up in the air. Right. I don't know what the dynamic is anymore. I don't know who I can go out to dinner with anymore. I don't know, you know, like, you know, you do want simplicity as you get older. You do want, like, I do understand where she's like, I want to know, you know, where I'm going on a Friday night. I don't want to have to worry about who I invite and who I don't invite and who's fucking and if they're in a fight and I'm going to have to deal with the repercussions. It's like, this is why, like, a lot of, you know, like I remember a friend of mine, he was a buddy of mine living in a part of town where like a lot of my other friends were living and all my other friends were in relationships and married and having kids and he was the one single guy. And like he said that like all these relationships would kind of make him feel like shit for being the one single guy. They'd be like, oh, you're Mr. Single, you don't care about any, like it was, there was this like kind of like this mass kind of like propaganda machine by the couples to be like, oh, you're just this like crazy weirdo because you're single. Right. And it's like, I do think that people who are in relationships and if they operate as like couples, they are a little bit threatened by this like variable person who's showing a life that they don't have.
Or maybe this friend that's in a couple fucked the other dude already.
Oh, and she's a little jealous.
Ooh.
I mean, that would be the juiciest email of all time.
Let's throw that into the group and see what happens.
Sure. Yeah, I think that this person's seeing that their life isn't, they don't know all the pieces of their life. I think you've disorganized an organized thing for them.
Right.
And
you
that's
just got to reassure her that, you know, regardless of who you're fucking, she'll always be your best friend.
Yeah, I think she has to. I think you have to go to her, and she asks who's wrong here? Is he wrong? Am I wrong? Nobody's wrong. You took the necessary precautions you took to see if you and this guy could have sex without rattling this group and to be adults about it. And it sounds like you have. I think you need to go to your friend and be like, hey, we did like A, B, and C to make sure that we'd be cool. And we did a lot of that for you. We did a lot of that because we respected that you introduced us. If this goes bad, which, 9 out of 10 go bad. If this goes bad, I can understand that. But I'm not going to not be friends with you if this goes bad. I'm not going to blame you for this going wrong, but you kind of have to let me live my life. I think you have to go direct to her though. I wouldn't bring up the other guys don't care and you care. Don't compare everyone's care. Understand that her problem, what I'm trying to bring up is that she has a legitimate problem. Her problem is my life has changed and I have no control over my life where I thought I did.
Tell her to stop being selfish.
She's being a little selfish.
Stop cock-blocking.
We are sponsored, people. The J-Train podcast is brought to you by Brooklinen. Small changes turn into big lifestyle changes. I can say that for myself. I have this this water bottle. Sometimes you'll see it in my YouTube videos or something, and it's a big bottle, and the goal is to drink 4 of those a day. When I get to 4... it is my eating's better. The way I feel is better. I'm going to the bathroom regularly. It's a little thing that changes the whole day. When I have, and there's some days I have half a one, and that's a worse feeling day for me. It's just so crazy how a small change can lead to big differences. Making small changes every day can lead to a big change overall. A nice towel can turn your bathroom into a spa. Loungewear can turn hanging out into a luxury. Brooklinen, with Brooklinen, they've moved beyond the bedroom to offer essentials for your bathroom like towels, shower curtains, and bath mats, and even launched ultra soft loungewear that makes you feel like you've never left bed. Making your home beautiful is the ultimate form of self-care, and what better time than the new year to care for yourself? Brooklinen was the first direct-to-consumer bedding company, meaning they work directly with manufacturers and directly with customers. No middlemen, just a great product and service. All luxury products without luxury markup. I love Brooklinen. I have the sheets. They're on my bed. They're beautiful. We love them. We sit, can't get out of bed. What I love about Brooklinen is that, they figured it out. They looked at the bedding industry and they said, hey, people are paying too much. We can give them the greatest product at not such a high price. We can cut out the middleman. No more Bed Bath & Beyond. No more stores. Let the mailman work for you to get you great sheets. Brooklinen.com is the perfect place to start making small changes that make a big difference. Brooklinen is so confident in their product that all their sheets, comforters, loungewears, and towels come with a lifetime warranty. Go on, make yourself comfortable. Get 10% off your first order and free shipping when you use promo code JTRAIN, JTRAIN, JTRAIN. Only at Brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com. Promo code JTRAIN. Brooklinen, everything you need to live your most comfortable life. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. JTrainPodcast@gmail.com. Here with Nimesh Patel. Let's do one more. Does that sound good?
Of course, dude.
We got one more. Everyone,
I'll read emails with you all day.
Go on YouTube right now. YouTube.com/Finding Nimesh. Go at Finding Nimesh on all platforms. I will be posting it on my Instagram. Go. The special is great. You're going to love it. Okay, I'll give you the dealer's choice, Nimesh.
Dealer's choice.
I'll give you names to these emails, and you tell me which one. How to tell my ex I can't be his sour something. Work, flirt, or more. Morse code via Snapchat. Quarantine match doesn't feel I can't see the rest. Blocked to window tapping.
Let's do work, flirt, or something else.
Work, flirt, or more. Okay. Yeah. I work with a guy that seems to flirt with me a lot, even now when we're in quarantine, and I'm into him as well. I can't tell if it's something more than casual flirting. We work at a fairly small company, although in very different departments, so dating someone at the company or attempting to and failing could be uncomfortable. I guess my question is, how can I figure out if it's just flirting or something more without making things awkward or embarrassing for myself?
There's no such thing. There's no such thing as the work flirt during quarantine.
What do you mean?
Like everyone's shooting their shot. He's definitely into you, wants to make it happen. Well,
what you're saying is very interesting because I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
This in her mind, and this is, I'm not saying like in her small mind, she's right too. But it's funny the way you think of this and I think of this versus how she's thinking of this. She's thinking of this, is it just a flirt? There are women out there that are like, oh, that's a guy I flirt with. And it means nothing more than that. When a guy flirts with you, it is to fuck. There's no like woman in my life where I'm like, oh, that's my flirt friend. You know, like, no. The flirt, this isn't like a fun game of tiddlywinks. This is a serious game of cock and balls.
To every flirt, there's an attachment of will we smash.
Exactly. So, but it's funny because the way she wrote this email where she says, how can I figure out if it's flirting or something more? It's something more,
yes.
But it's not the more that maybe you'd like it to maybe be. Right. To him, he's thinking, men think very 5 minutes in front of them. They think, I am flirting, so I may fuck. And then they're thinking, there's no thought of like, well, how will we get through HR? And how are we going to keep this a secret from the office? And I think those questions do come up, but in a protectionary thing. Guys go to protection land. They don't go to preservation land. So they go, okay, if I do flirt and we do fuck, I'll deal with the repercussions later, but hopefully I don't get fired. Right. It's not, I'll flirt and I'll fuck and hopefully we can get HR to approve our relationship. It's not that way.
She's already thinking about the conversation she's going to have with her lawyer while she sues the company. You know?
Well, don't you think that it's like it's funny that just the difference of viewpoint on it. Yeah, the perspective.
She's so far ahead, but she knows what it is. That's what she wouldn't. She wants it to be just more than that too. It's very apparent.
But I think what she needs to do is like she has to admit that like, hey, this is going to be really hard, and this flirting either can like it either he's never. I don't think this guy. If it were me in this situation, I'm not going to go above and beyond to get myself in trouble. So I'm not going to be like flirting and then saying, hey, come over. Because the hey, come over, I'm going to let her say, hey, come over. I'm going to let her be the one that pushes this along so that if this does break up, I can go, well, you knew I wasn't, you kind of came after me. And that's like a diabolical scheme, but that's kind of what guys do or what people do who are flirting at work knowingly, but the reality is like, is it something more without making things awkward or embarrassing? You're never going to not make this awkward, make this embarrassing.
Even if you get together and get married, it's going to be awkward and embarrassing. On
the way to that stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
So I think it's like, at some point, and it doesn't have to be today, it doesn't have to be tomorrow, you got to be a little bit more vulnerable. Hey, this has been fun, but I'm like single and I know you are too. If we're not going to like take a step beyond this, like I kind of have to like end this flirt, or you don't even have to say that. You can just back away a little bit. But like this guy to me, and I know I'm making some assumptions, he's not going to stop. He could sit in this flirt land until you come fuck him land forever.
Right. Just don't send any nudes over Slack. No.
JTrain Podcast at gmail.com. JTrain Podcast at gmail.com. Nimesh Patel, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Jared.
Always a pleasure. Great to see you. Great to hear about the wedding. Everyone go find Nimesh right now.
Please.
Right now at Finding Nimesh. Go on YouTube because we're pushing YouTube right now big time. Yes. So YouTube.com/findingthemesh. It'll be in the description. It's all there. Go check out the special. It's fantastic.
And all the other videos. There's so many.
He's got stuff there. He's got a lot of stuff. So go get involved. Nimesh, I'll talk to you soon. Great to have you. Thank you, buddy.
Good to see you, brother.
I'm Jared Freid. We're here every Monday through Friday. We'll be back next episode. Boom.